Hi, everyone.
Good evening, everybody. I bet you've been dying to wait for us to come on this evening.
And we got a good evening tonight, talking about dreams, and in particular, premonitions. And do dreams tell the future? So later on, we'll be asking you to tell us some of your dreams, maybe, if we got space. And we'll talk about dreams, predictions, and what they're all about.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to a few of you first.
Right. And can I just say, I had a dream and a premonition myself about
Michelangel.
About Maxwell's daughter, that she would be caught by the FBI on a ranch, and that's happened. And I had that dream 4 weeks ago, and it's happened. They caught her yesterday, didn't they, Craig?
Yeah, they did indeed. Hi, Tiger Lily. Yes, her dreams do come true, and so clairvoyance often comes through dreams, doesn't it? Hi, Yvonne from Florida. Good to see you.
Nana again. Lovely to see you again.
Yeah, you know who's who, because the ones with the little red marks
agility bits.
Yes, we get these agility bits. I still don't know where you get that name from. Justin, that's from Facebook. So we get people Facebook and from YouTube. You can tune on to actually go and see our Facebook page if you're on YouTube, and go and see our YouTube channel if you're on Facebook, and join both of them.
Hi, Kathy.
Sally, yes. Hi, Sally. Sally's my cousin, actually. So we can see you're getting you in from Facebook too. I'm going to talk about one of the dreams that Nan gave us, actually, Sally, later on. Hi, Littermon.
Sounds like Pokemon.
From Toronto. And also, everyone, at the moment, I don't know if you saw the video that's just gone up before this one. I put Mystic Journey to India up on YouTube today. So you can go, after you've watched this tonight, go and watch it. It's a full TV program, a full movie you'll be able to watch about India and the Nadis and all that. So it's normally on Amazon, but I decided I'm going to put it on YouTube now. So you're welcome to go and see it. It's a full program. So go and watch that. Mystic Journey to India. You'll find it on the main page of the YouTube page. 4-leaf clover. Hello from California. Hi there. All around the world again, aren't we? Hello. Tons of dreams that come true all the time. Fantastic, Kelly. We're going to look at all those.
Patricia.
Hi, Patricia. Obviously, writing dreams down, if you're going to ask it in a question form, is quite difficult. So have a good think about how you type it out, because obviously you have to keep them pretty short. William, hi, Craig and Jane from Botswana. Yes, I remember you came in before from Botswana. You must be hard to get a decent connection there, I should think. It's bad enough in India.
Jason's Slimming World. It's handy.
Actually, is that a hint, Jason? I'm not doing that bad.
And I think it's also a good idea to write your dreams down, so you do a dream analysis in the future about your predictions, and don't forget to put the dates on them.
From India too. Wow, we got all Botswana, India, America. Fantastic. And Lancashire. Oh, that's Yorkshire, isn't it? My nan was from Lancashire. Used to speak different. She's Elizabeth there from Wisconsin. Right, from the Himalayas.
Wow.
Right. Yes, I seem to remember you mentioned that before. You came on once before.
Denmark. We got Denmark.
Right, so let's hope you've all got some interesting dreams to share with us, because we're going to talk about dreams and premonitions tonight, and whether dreams can tell the future. Hope you're both well. Sure are, Zoe. Thank you for joining us, folks. And lots of you are joining all the time. That's why we like to say hello to everybody first.
So many people coming in.
Some of you are just coming in a little bit late, so we'll start the full talk in a moment. Darby, yep. Hi there, May. Yeah, and Susie from the Carolina, USA. Wow, all over the place. And I still find the internet amazing, that we can all communicate like this just around the world. I suppose we've been used to it for a long time now, but it's still amazing that we can connect.
I think this is good. This is from Agility Bits. My mother dreamt...
Well, I'm going to put them up in a moment, some of those.
All right.
So let's just talk a little bit about dreams and precognition, I suppose you call
Premonitions.
it. Yeah, well, precognition means seeing the future. Premonition is kind of, how do you define premonition?
Well, you sense it's going to happen.
Usually has a negative element to premonition. Use something negative, isn't it? I mean, a lot of people from throughout history have all believed that dreams have a portents of the future. If you look at any culture, the ancient Egyptians used to believe the gods connected with dreams. So did scrying was done through it. Yeah. So did the ancient Greeks, and of course in the temples of Delphi and so forth, we had all the ancient Greeks there, connecting with Hypnos, the god of sleep, and what was the god of like Morpheus. Morpheus was the god of dreams, wasn't he, in the Greek mythology, in Babylon, in India.
Edgar Casey.
Yeah, all the history of dreams is there, isn't it? Always, right from the beginning of time, mankind believed that certain portents and things would come through dreams. And sort of Jane and I would definitely agree with them, wouldn't we?
Yes, we would. Edgar Casey's Sleeping Prophet.
Yeah, modern day dreamers too used to have used dreams, and there's been dream experiments in many of the laboratories.
Like Craig's one.
Yeah, I'm a dream experiment. Yeah. Yeah, but there've been lots of experiments done in Duke's University and things there in America and so forth. And there's good evidence to suggest that dreams really do connect. But you know, whatever you say about it, and whatever stories you read about it, whatever you read about it, it really hits home when you have a personal experience of a precognition that comes through a dream. And I don't think you necessarily have to be a psychic person for this to happen. It just happens to all of us sometimes, I think. Have you had any dreams that have, you've seen the future, Jane? In particularly through a dream? I know we do it with our clairvoyant work, but something where the dreams have been significant.
Well, I did actually. Many years ago, I had a dream that I saw bodies in body bags, and when I had that dream, then there suddenly was an outbreak of AIDS, HIV. I remember that very clearly.
Oh, right, yeah. I think one of the most interesting ones, one of the ones I found really interesting that I'll quickly tell you about, was my grandmother. Now, she was my grandmother on my father's side of the family. She was pretty perceptive, and she was pretty old when she died, but she was a little girl when the Titanic went down, and she lived in the Chapel area of Southampton, which is a pretty run-down area. Chapel was, and she said to her mother, she told me that she said to her mother, just before the Titanic was sailed, that she was worried. She was really, really worried, and had some bad dreams about the lodger that was staying in the house. Well, that lodger was one of the crew on board the Titanic, you know. And then when the Titanic went down, she said the whole of Southampton just went into complete mourning. There was black flags up, she said, on alternative houses and things like that, because both Southampton and Belfast, all the crew on the Titanic had been from those two towns, you know. So it was a massive, massive shock. And she said to me that she saw people falling down in the street and crying, you know. But her dream had come true, because he actually escaped from the Titanic and was one of the few that was rescued. But the lodger later on was so upset about the fact that he had survived, that he actually killed himself, hung himself in their back room. So it sticks in a little girl's mind at 6 years old.
There was also a young boy, 15, that came from just up the road where we lived, and there's a plaque at Bishopstoke. He drowned at sea. He was on the Titanic as well.
Was he really? Yeah. I mean, and a lot of people cancelled their tickets on the Titanic because of dreams they'd had. You know, these things were valuable. You know, the Titanic tickets. You know, you imagine it's like the most precious ticket of all time, because I mean, it's not like liners now. This was the big ship. And yeah, even Graham Greene, the author, I think it was Graham Greene, who I can't remember what he wrote now. But he was a great author in his time. He cancelled his trip on the Titanic because he had a bad dream, or something like that. I might be wrong with that. But going back to my nan, actually, just to continue the story I started talking about there. Oh, here's Sally online here too. So funny you're doing this tonight. My brother and I both had a visit from Mum in our dreams this week. Okay, so this is Sally's in our family actually. So she's came in, my cousin. So she knows props the story I'm telling you here. But my nan also had another really interesting dream actually, and Sally's mum there actually would have known about this one, because she said to Sally's mum on the night of my sister's wedding, Marion, I've had a terrible dream. And she described my sister getting married, all in black. And she said, she's all in black. She's all in black. Something terrible's going to happen with that wedding, right? And it did, because although she got married, 6 months later, her husband was diagnosed with cancer. And within another 6 months, he was dead. So her dream was a dreadful portent of something absolutely terrible happening. You know, yes. The bride wore black.
Yeah. And I had a dream that I had a pilgrim knocking at a door, trying to get in through, and he couldn't pass through. That next morning, I had a phone call that my father was taken into Pilgrim Ward.
Oh yeah, that was yeah. They had the pilgrims, because so dreams twist it sometimes, don't they? They give you a bit of the information, but not all of it. And this is often the case. People have often said this with dreams, that you know, you get a bit of the information. I mean, a famous case was the one by who wrote The Experiment with Time, which is a huge bestseller in the 1930s book about the idea of serialism, that we're like on a ladder of consciousness, and sometimes we connect with a higher level of ourselves that's in a different time zone. That's a whole talk. But he used to say that he had, one of the dreams he quotes is he dreamed of being killed by a bull, right? And then the next day he went into a field and was chased by a bull, but it didn't kill him. So the dream gave part of the information, but not all of it, unless somehow, because he'd had the dream, he didn't get killed, and maybe the future's not set.
I think there's an old wives' tale, is reverse your dreams when you have bad dreams. You heard of that one?
Well, I don't agree with that, because every time you have a good dream, I say to you, no, reverse it. You're not going to win the lottery. It's going to be terrible.
I don't dream of winning the lottery.
Now, there used to be an old wives' tales about that you just reverse whatever's said in a dream. There's also an awful lot of superstitions associated with dream.
Teeth? What about the one with your teeth? Your teeth are falling out.
Well, just to finish the first one that you said there about, because they often will say that dreams, reverse your dreams, is an absolute lot of nonsense, because that's one of many old wives' tales, and a lot of the dream books you get from those times are pretty daft. We'll talk about how you interpret a prophetic dream in a moment. So my agility bits. Okay, my mother dreamed the Derby winner, but didn't put a bet on it. It happened exactly as in the dreams. Comment?
You were going to tell a story about.
Well, actually, there is quite an interesting story of a guy called. I was reading about it. Funny you should ask that. I was reading about him. What was his? I haven't got it there. I was reading about him early on.
30s.
There was a guy. What was his name? 1948 sort of 30s. Time. No, 1948 sort of time. A writer for the Daily Mail. He became the sports columnist for the Daily Mail. I've forgotten his name now. But he used to dream consistently of the horse races and started putting bets on it, and actually became a millionaire through his betting, all through dreaming of horse races. And then all of a sudden the dreams just stopped, bump, and he then became a journalist. And he wasn't making these stories up. I mean, they were pretty well investigated. I was reading it in Colin Wilson's work. He's a brilliant writer if you want to read anything about the paranormal. He's dead now, Colin Wilson, but I was a real fan of him as a writer. But he would consistently dream of the horse races and get it right all the time. So unfortunately, I can't do that.
I was going to say, dream on, baby.
And I can't even. And every time we dream of lottery numbers, we always get them wrong, don't we? I think, oh, James, I've had a dream. Get me these numbers. These numbers.
They always come up in threes.
I think she's bound to be right. With clairvoyance. Yeah. Not a single one comes up.
Yeah, but threes.
Yeah, but I think there's. I don't like the idea of betting on predictions. Actually,
well, you don't. So
people do bet on my predictions sometimes, and I think, oh God, that's going to make the prediction go wrong, which might be a good idea with some of them. Patrice, do you think déjà vu also derives from the dream world?
Sometimes it's possible.
Yeah, elaborate.
You elaborate. You seem to know it. Well, people do dream sometimes that they've been in a particular building, thought nothing of it, and suddenly in the material, physical world, sometimes they're just walking through a building, think this is the building I dreamt about.
Yeah, I think that is the case, because when you get a sense of deja vu, it's like, how do I know this?
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, did I dream about that? Or is it just the deja vu feeling that you get, you know? And I've talked about deja vu before on my videos. It's often thought to be something to do with the short-term and long-term memory, some slip between memories. And there are cases of people that have permanent deja vu, so that can also be linked to a mental process.
It's a bit like total recall, really,
yeah,
isn't it?
so deja vu, you know, yeah. Deja vu is a strange thing, actually, because, okay, they say there's all these medical things that can create deja vu, but then are they not also getting a glimpse of the future? Because science, of course, just rejects it, doesn't it? But, so I think, yes, I think there probably is a link of some sort. Maybe if we've had a dream and it comes true and then we suddenly remember it, that's the deja vu point, isn't it?
Deja vu is that you feel that you've been in that building before, or you've got somebody in front of you, you know exactly what words are going to come out their mouths.
Yeah, seen before, it means, doesn't it? Deja vu, I think. Yeah, so that's quite an interesting question there. Yes, we thought I was hoping another question might come up. I went all quiet.
Deja vu.
Jesus did come in my dreams and told me to study a couple in miracles.
Here we are. What more? There we
Couple in
are.
miracles.
He was absolutely right. There we are. There we are.
I don't know. Jesus in a dream is a difficult one, actually, because it's often symbolic. But then, you know, that's such a hot potato, that one. Could Jesus communicate with the person in a dream as the actual being? I mean, Sai Baba communicates in dreams as the actual being, and
Sharavana Baba.
Other gurus like Sharavana communicates through dreams. Great high beings do.
I think
So see why not?
Masters.
You know, I think a Muslim, for example, would find that wrong, because they believe that dreams can only prophetic dreams, they say in Islam. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody's out there that's Muslim, that I've got this wrong at all, but I believe in Islam they say that only dreams from God can predict the future. Other dreams that don't predict the future are from the devil. So not that I believe in the devil personally, but you know, that's just religious aspects of these things I always worry about with religion and dreams. Actually, I worry about religion full stop, actually, in all terms of religion. Right, we're sitting here waiting for a question. So don't forget, guys, put your questions up.
They are.
And any comments, because
CKV.
Obviously it helps keep the flow going nicely if we've got plenty of questions coming to us.
Astrology.
If dreams can tell the future, what is the purpose of it? Now, that's a good question.
Why is he looking at me to back him up? I know this man so well. If dreams can tell the future, what is the purpose of it? Well, the purpose is guidance, isn't it? And showing you, perhaps you've got somebody in the spirit world that's trying to influence your dreams to help you. And there is a purpose in everything that we do, surely. There's a purpose why we're breathing, why we're living. Perhaps we're learning lessons here. And you know, life can be an illusion, and we're actually in a reality state at the moment, living and breathing, and what's happening around the world with this virus and everything. And don't you agree? I
would say, what's the point of telling the future if you can't change it? If you can't change it, I think I'd rather not know the future. You know, people come to us for readings and things, and often it's a question is, I want to know the future. Actually, you probably don't want to know the future. You want to know the future's going to be all right. So I think you've got to come some way in between this.
Yeah, but women,
the point is that we can change the future. So we get an idea of the layout, but we can change our course.
Thoughts.
That's the difference. So that's the point. That's the point of dreams.
But women want to know if they're going to get married, or if the romantic aspect, they want to know. It's the knowing.
Yeah, they want to know it's going to be all right. You don't want to know the future. If the future was going to be terrible, you wouldn't want to know it, would you? But if we can change the future, and the future is going to be terrible, and we know we can change that path, then it's fine.
That's a very interesting question. You can answer that.
What does it mean when you dream about people you know in the dream world, but do not know them in real life? Well, dreams characters in dreams are like a play, really, a bit like the future's like a play too, really, isn't it? I mean, the set's there, the script's there, but we can ad lib. And in our dreams, the characters in dreams represent usually aspects of ourself, including people we know. So Carl Jung is the one I'm very interested in with the dream stuff. And he would have suggested, for example, that certain figures come into the dream as representative aspects of ourself. So the mother figure, for example, in a broad sense, is a motherly aspect of ourself. The father image is a fatherly aspect of ourself, male and female, split brain idea, masculine and feminine in the brain, intuitive and rational. And then you get other strange figures like trickster figures, and you get figures such as the hero in a dream, and you get all these different characters which represent aspects of our own personality and our own self, trying to work out issues and problems and so forth. And so that they're kind of personifications, just like gods are personifications of aspects of the divine, for example. So when you look at perhaps when a character like you're sort of describing appears in a dream, there was another philosopher called Gestalt that suggests psychologist called Gestalt that suggested that you put a seat in front of yourself and imagine that person is sat there, and then ask them questions about who they are and why they're in your dream, for example, and then let your intuition give the answer, and it's almost getting a dialogue with the characters in your dream. So this is a dialogue with yourself. But I would take it a stage further and say that maybe we also do connect with real beings in dreams. I mean, people can connect with someone they love in a dream, telepathic sharing, mutual dreams, as we call it, where people have the same dream at the same time. So they've shared a dream environment. And why not also the spirit world too? If we can connect with the spirit world through mediumship, if you can accept that, then why can't all of us somehow connect with our intuition with the spirit world? So dreams are the door into not just our unconscious, but into other worlds perhaps as well. Your turn for the next one, Jane. What does it say? Question.
You just said it's my turn and you're overriding me.
Do you believe repeat dreams are prophetic dreams? It is for me.
I believe you can, yes. I think sometimes in our subconscious mind, we might be thinking about things or perhaps want a solution to our problems, and perhaps our mind isn't switched off, and then we suddenly dream about it, and sometimes they can be very lucid. I mean, sometimes we're in a sleep mode and a dream mode, and it's as if we are shown things. So we have to act on those things. And so we've always got to believe and be practical with the heart and mind, how we resolve these things.
So what you've asked here is about recurring dreams. Yeah. And a psychologist would say what recurring dreams are about unresolved issues. Mm. So some problem in childhood, for example, that has been pushed out of the consciousness may keep recurring as a nightmare. Perhaps being chased, perhaps being knifed by someone, attacked, or whatever the issue is, the symbolism of it will come out in some form of dark figure quite often in a dream that keeps coming up all the time. Because usually recurring dreams are usually stressful, not always, but usually stressful, because it's like something in the brain is saying, look, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. And you're running away from it. You're pushing it back. You're pushing it back. It's something you don't want to face, usually something that's, traumatic. So it comes back time and time again. It repeats itself. But I don't see why also recurring dreams couldn't also be, like you suggested, perhaps be something from the future, a higher level that's pushing back onto you. You're getting the same thing, basically, aren't you? You're getting the same thought, the same idea, and it's coming through the dreams. Yeah, and I don't see why it couldn't also be like you've suggested there, that it could be a glimpse of the future. I wouldn't say all dreams that are recurring, though, are about the future.
This is definitely you, Craig.
I don't remember things in normal life, let alone in dreams.
I've got
a memory like
sometimes.
A sieve. I got a memory like a sieve. Always have had. Never remember people's names. Do you have any advice for those who rarely remember dreams? Lots. I've written a few books, a whole book about how to remember dreams, actually, for Sterling. Lots and lots of tips about remembering dreams. First thing to do is you've got to make an effort, really, to remember your dreams. And that really means keeping a dream diary or a dream journal by the side of your bed, and write down everything that comes to mind immediately. Because even if you think you don't dream, you do.
Date it.
And date it first, yeah. But even if you don't think you don't dream, you do. Everybody dreams at least 3 to 4 patterns every night. And some of the strongest ones come around about as just before you wake up. There's another period, usually around about 3 o'clock in the morning, where people get another dream sequence. And if you wake up in the night, you know, it's going to be hard to write a dream down because you want to go back to sleep. But if you write it down, if you really want to get into your dreams, write those ones down, because they're very, very interesting, those late night dreams. But in the morning, when you wake up, first thing to write it down. And I've talked about this before on another video we did, but when you write it down, don't worry about getting the spelling right or anything like that. Just get down as much as you can. And I usually do it like a mind map. So I write one thing down. So we're talking about character in the dream. So you write down, I dreamed of a clown, right? Circle it. Then what was it like? Oh, he was a sinister clown, or whatever. You know, he rode a bike. He said, you know, you will join the circus. You know, so get all the details of that strange dream down as quickly as you can. Like you draw it one bit and draw a little balloon off and another little balloon off, and that'll help you trigger quickly all the information. You can come back to it later and write it down in story form if you want to, and write down first the things you hear, because those are the things that disappear first. Visual stuff dreams are mainly about. But if someone said something in a dream, write that down first, because that's likely to go quickest out of the memory. The verbal stuff usually disappears quickest. Depends how you're wired, really, but usually.
And if you dream of water, usually there's symbols of spirituality and spiritual things. Because I remember having a dream of a window opening and I saw like the sea, and I saw the most beautiful goldfish, and that it's quite a spiritual dream. So water, all these are symbolisms in your dreams, so they're important.
Yeah, dreams of the feelings and the emotions and things like that.
What did you say about your book, Psychic Dreaming?
Well, I can mention that in a minute. So what does it mean when you're flying in dreams?
It's a bit like astral travel, isn't it?
Well, it could, one level, it could be something like that. Freud used to say it was his favorite dream, because usually in flying dreams, there's never any fear in a flying dream normally. Sometimes there might be falling dreams or a different thing. Come fly with me, come fly with me. Yeah. So flying dreams usually come after a period of tension, and it's like a release. And I think flying dreams also kind of symbolize perhaps connecting with the higher aspects of yourself. I mean, this is traditional common meanings of dreams. But flying is a very common dream, and it's about release from tension most of the time. And
visitations.
Things go on the up, aren't they? You're much happier in dreams.
Visiting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Please, in capitals. I always have a dream that I am not. I always have dreams that I am not in and don't recognize anyone in the dream. Oh, that's interesting. I'm just watching things happen. Can you explain what this might mean? Some are graphic and disturbing.
Fear. What do you pick up?
Well, it is kind of fear, isn't it, really? I mean, what you've done is you've... I can't remember what Freud called it, but you've distanced yourself from something. You've seen it as not you. You know, you're dealing probably there with a lot of emotional issues, I expect. And what you've done is you kind of detached yourself from it. You've pushed it out, and you're just the observer. And in a way, it's a safety mechanism, because the dream is there kind of telling you problems in a symbolic form. Because remember, dreams talk in symbolism. They talk in allegory, metaphor, symbolism, all twists and turns and puns and all sorts of things. So look at that dream, and you're looking at it dispassionately, really, in the dream. So you're not part of this. It's like saying, here it is, but actually you're not involved in this. It's a dispassionate way of looking at something. Now, it may be you looking at something about your life that really upsets you, but you're looking at it in a dispassionate way. Or it may be another issue of some sort that's a problem that's pushing in on your life, that you're able to look at it in this sort of unattached way. So treat it like an ordinary dream. Look at it and see if you can dig into the symbolism to see what it means. And don't worry about it. They're thinking, oh, you know, I've got depersonalized dreams. I think it's just some way that the subconscious is probably trying to show you quite a difficult issue of some sort, in a way, in a kind of rational way. Unless it's the opposite to what I'm saying, because remember, dreams have so many ways of looking at them. It could be saying that you're too dispassionate yourself, that you're not emotionally engaged in life very well, and you need to get more emotionally engaged in your life, and you're too rational. So it could be, you know, it's up, only you can ultimately interpret it. But there's a few ideas to throw at you. So sort of, you know, the way you look at it.
I think John here is a patron. I think you should answer that, Craig.
Here we go. Agility Bits. I see things in meditation. Is this the same as seeing things in dreams?
No.
You say no to that?
No, meditation is when you set your mind in at peace and doing a visualization and bringing things in. I mean, you could bring things in energy down the Kundalini and the ley lines in your body. Dreaming is very lucid, isn't it?
Dream, well, I would say yes and no to that answer to that, actually, because there's different types of dreaming. Most of the time we wake from a dream as if it's completely out of our control, isn't it? It just comes from nowhere and we don't know where it's from. Sometimes in dreams there's a lucidity, which they call lucid dreaming, in which we wake up in the dream and we're kind of conscious that we're dreaming, and it's like it's taking place. Now, I would imagine that the dreams that you're talking about in meditation are a bit like that idea of a lucid dream, where you're still fully awake, but there's this dream, you're connecting with your unconscious and subconscious mind. So you're an actor in part of this dream. So when you go into meditation, yes, you can drop into those unconscious levels. You can drop into those areas of the mind where it's very similar to a dream. I mean, sometimes, for example, I get that hypnagogic dreaming as a very interesting state. Just before you dropping off to sleep, you get this stream of incredible imagery that rises and falls, and it's like dream imagery, but it's not a dream because you're not actually engaged in it. It's like a picture show. And I've seen that happen quite a lot in my own meditations, in which things come up and arise. And I would suggest you look into some of the meditation techniques. Anatona Mona, I think is if I've got it wrong. But there's the techniques of inner peace, in which one looks at sees the images coming up, but holds one of them and holds it still, right? And then let that image dissolve. And then let the images come, then hold an image and let it dissolve. Because that way you learn to get control over the subconscious mind and the flow of imagery. So try that if you're getting that in your meditation.
Right. There's I just answered this one. There was a dream that somebody had.
Well, we're going to Domenico will put that up in a minute if there's one.
About a pearl. Okay.
Okay. About a pearl. Put the one up about a pearl in a minute, Domenico. Let's do this next question. Whoops. Okay. Hi, Craig and Jane. New patron here. Well done, John. Thank you for becoming a patron. And any of the rest of you, there's a good opportunity to tell you that if you become a patron of the site, it helps us with what we're doing. It helps. We're working towards getting a center together, and we're also getting a studio together to project, so we can transmit from. So we can go a stage further with all this type of work. And have a look in the description below. You'll see the links about patrons. It's like our own little online community too. So basically, people help us. They give a little bit each. You get a few extras, but it's the act of giving that's the most important part of that. And you'll see some of the charitable work we do as well with the patrons. So hi, Craig and Jane, new patron here. Thank you, John. When I was younger, I frequently used to dream I was levitating up into the air, maybe a few 100 feet, not flying, but levitating. Don't get this dream now.
Well, was that obviously when he was going through puberty?
That type of dream can happen in puberty. I've heard this before. It's very similar, actually, John, to what you're getting there, to the idea of the flying dream again. I've just made a video today actually about out-of-body experiences in dreams, which won't be coming out for a few months because I'm working quite a few programs ahead of myself. But sometimes we do get these dreams of like a release from tension. But that idea of levitating could be astral travel. That is moving the spirit body out of the physical body.
You're talking about levitating.
So that's what the levitating would probably could be. And when Jane said, did this happen in puberty? Often a lot of the out of body experiences happen during puberty.
Yes.
A lot of people around the age of 14, 13, that sort of time, people often get out of body experiences spontaneously at that time. And that new video, so keep following this channel. Don't forget, subscribe, and you'll get the updates. Video is coming out later, and I'll go into a lot of details and give you some experiments you can try when you go to sleep to encourage that idea of out of body travel. So the one you wanted to talk to was about
the screen now, about a pearl.
About the pearl.
She kept dreaming about the pearl.
Dominica might be able to find it.
Leah.
No, it'll be. It's a
bit
of a task for him to find it.
I can remember. If you dream of a pearl represents in the Chinese culture and most cultures wisdom. It means wisdom.
Good evening, Craig and Jane from Greece.
Yes.
Aha.
What is it?
Always a pleasure to listen to you.
It means wisdom. You have wisdom.
Being offered a pearl.
Yeah, because pearls are sacred and they come from the sea, which is spiritual. So a pearl means wisdom, that you have wisdom within you, and you must do something about it too.
Yeah, you can look at anything as a symbol, can't you? And a pearl, if I was to interpret the meaning of a pearl, you think about it. A pearl is caused by suffering. You know, it's caused by the clan suffering. It's like the spiritual gifts we get from suffering.
Pearls,
it's also enclosed in
Chinese
the clan.
give pearls because pearls are wisdom. I have pearls given to me from somebody in Hawaii, don't I? And gurus like pearls too. It represents wisdom. It
also has a sexual symbolism because a pearl also represents semen in some dream analysis.
Not in my backyard. They don't.
So it can have a lot of different meanings. I think it would be a spiritual symbol. It's also something that's from the depths of the sea, and the sea is the unconscious mind. So it's something.
Beauty.
It's a talent. It's something in you. It's a treasure. It's like a dream of finding treasure. It's a treasure in a way. It's a treasure from the depths. It's a treasure from the depths of the sea. It could be a hidden talent, something like that. Or pearls of wisdom. It could be your inner knowledge.
Pearls of wisdom.
So you've got to interpret what it means ultimately. Yeah. Me and Jane can give you some ideas, but what does it represent about your personality? And there's something special that you have that perhaps you're not using yet. A talent maybe that you're not using in the real world. So my
little Greek goddess, Little Mermaid, invest in pearls. Wear pearls.
Okay, Zoe Brown, there's another Facebook one. Lately I keep hearing a doorbell in my dream and it wakes me up. I know it's not real as the dogs do not bark and no one else hears it. Really strange.
I think that is somebody trying to connect with you, Zoe, from the spirit world, because doorbells, because a lot of people hear doorbells in dreams or in reality, and it's someone trying to communicate to you from the spirit realm.
I think Jane's right there, either from the spirit realm or from your own unconscious mind, because symbolism of things such as telephones, any form of internet, receiving an email in a dream, receiving a letter, all those sort of dreams are messages from your unconscious mind to your conscious mind. It's from the part of you that you don't know anything about, giving messages to the you that's awake, as it were. So there's a message there of some sort. Now, that could be from yourself to yourself. It could be your unconscious mind saying, hey, here's something you need to pay attention to. You know, this is what you should be thinking about. And remember, dreams can be on many, many levels. They can be on a purely emotional, this world level, or as Jane suggested there, it can be on a much higher level, also on a spiritual level. So it could be from the spirit world, or it could be from your unconscious mind. You need to look at the content and try to learn how to interpret that and see what it says and what it means about you.
Well, that was right. When we answered John, he did have those dreams when he's going through puberty. I was right.
Okay, oh good. That's so you were right about that.
Symbols now.
Nana Rosebud, what signs or symbols do we need to know if we are about if they are about warnings in dreams?
Flashes of light, I would say, like thunder and black dogs, ravens, and all superstitions.
So you're
like
saying
that.
any negative image could
Yes.
represent those things, yeah. But I mean, if I've had a premonition and a dream, actually, it doesn't normally. This is only from my point of view. You might say different what you've had, Jane. But if I get a picture in a dream. If I see a flash of the future in a dream, the dream is kind of boring, matter of fact. There's no fear. There's no emotion. It's not like, you know, like if a person has a dream of a death, sometimes it's full of all sorts of terrible things, you know, and they think, oh, someone's going to die, someone's going to die. And actually, that's probably more to do with your own self. It's probably symbolism about your emotions and your feelings and the way you're feeling, and you feel dead. You feel dead at the moment. You know, I feel tired. I feel dead beat, and so forth. You know, but when you get a real glimpse of something happening, it's almost, I think, it's almost like matter of fact. You know, the Titanic will sink. Boom. And you just dream it, you know, or a bit late, but, you know, 9/11, you know, people had dreams about that, but they probably didn't wake up all frightened. They just saw it, you know, you just see it as it is, as if it's just a statement of fact.
Well,
and that's how I see it. Anyway, do you get the same?
Well, I keep on having, I've had 3 recurring dreams in the last 3 nights of a child's body hidden under rocks by the sea. And I hope it's not what I think it is. But I keep seeing this right in the Dead Sea, and there's rocks there, and I know it's abroad, but that's the only information I've got.
Well, it'll be interesting if that comes up in the news this week, because you had that you know, Jane obviously sees the head just like I do. You know, it's like we both used to do the big breakfast where we used to predict next week's news today. Another patron, thank you, Tara. Thank you for being a patron. It's very much appreciated. It allows us to spend much more time at this type of work. Hi, Craig and Jane. Can spirits visit you in dreams? Since my father passed 3 years ago, he appears twice in a dream. So vividly, I remember every detail, not like dreams I've experienced.
Yes, we believe that the spirit world visit you in dreams, and I believe your father's trying to communicate with you. And I think it depends how somebody passes into the spirit realm and that. And it's always nice. And it's wonderful, really, they can connect and come in dreams to let you know they're okay. It doesn't mean that because they visit you, there's bad things going to happen.
No. And I think, Tara, the way you've described it sounds to me real. Because when someone dies, I mean, we used to write columns for things like the Scottish Daily Record and things like that for years. And I had... people used to write in about dreams about the dead, you know, and often the dreams would be fearful. Dreams that I dreamed of my dead husband, and he kept divorcing me. I was divorced. He kept saying I'm divorced, and I think no, that dream in that case was the woman was upset because the grief of losing her husband was like being divorced. It was upset at being apart, you know. It's like being, the dream says it's just like he divorced you. You feel like this. It feels just like you've been divorced, you know, and all on your own. So those are emotional dreams. But I think when the spirit world connects, it's again, like I said, with the idea of the predictions, there's this kind of a matter of factness to it. There's an ordinariness to it in a way, a vividness to it. But not the emotional entanglement type of dreams, you know. It's almost matter of fact. So I think, Tara, that you probably did have a connection with your father. A lot of it depends on the context, and you might also find that it moves into an ordinary dream as well. But I think when people do connect in the dream, it's almost, here I am, you know, simple, not symbolic, and more closer to real life.
Right, who got now? Kelly. Hi, Craig and Jane. Last night I woke up and there was what appeared a light orb next to my bed. When I returned to bed, it was gone. This has not happened before. Do you have any thoughts about it?
Well, we've had that type of thing happen to us. We've mentioned it before on camera, haven't we? About when we had that amazing, it wasn't an orb as such, it was a
ball of light.
Ball of light, brilliant, brilliant.
Like a ghost ball.
Ball of light in the middle of the room. That was just unexplainable. I mean,
and it actually shook
just
the door, didn't it?
The door shook. Well, I ran after it, didn't I? And the door went boom, 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 like that.
Yeah.
And I had hair then, and all my hair went off.
Fell out.
And it wasn't.
Afterwards.
It was not thunder and lightning or anything like that.
Beautiful,
because it was a clear night, no problem.
Beautiful.
And it wasn't like from outside or a light coming through the window. It shimmered there.
Could be
like
an angel
ball
passing
of light.
through.
And we were, it lit the room.
Like an angel.
Unbelievable. But that wasn't a dream. That was a reality that was happened as we were going to sleep.
But there's nothing bad around this person, an orb. It's the beauty and the light. So she's fully protected.
In fact, I don't like to call things orbs because that associates with all these things that you get on these cheap programs where they use orbs on cameras and things. That's a video effect. I would rather call them spirit lights. I think that's because in a circle, for example, in a seance, when you sit round in the dark, sometimes you get lights going around the room. Now that can be caused by the optical effect of someone sitting in darkness or rubbing their eyes and you see dots. But sometimes it occurs where everybody can watch it move around the room. And this we would distinguish from being anything optical or anything like an orb-like effect to an actual what we call a spirit light. A spirit can manifest as a light. And I have seen that in circles, which is a sort of those circles that get close to the physical phenomena. Never seen it photographed, though. I've never tried to photograph it. But, when everybody sees it collectively, then it gets interesting because, you've got more than one observer.
I think the best thing is actually to catch ectoplasm on a photo. That is incredible coming from the stellar plexus. But that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story. The only problem with all that type of thing is people won't allow nighttime vision cameras into the room. So what's the point? Suddenly it's well, anyway. That's an old chestnut, that one. Anyway, Spooky Chris. Oh, we've had you before. I remember your profile, Spooky Chris, with the poor burnt out Batman. Yeah. Slightly off question, but what do you think of astral traveling with another person who is also asleep in the next room?
Well, if it's Craig sleeping in the next room, I'll show watch out. That is possible.
Well, yeah, I mentioned it earlier, didn't I? I said about mutual dreams, they call them. Where two people have the same dream at the same time. I mean, we've had something like that before, I believe. This is the other ones. What the pictures on the screen? Those are the ones that Domenico will bring up the questions. Okay. Yeah, where was it? Yeah, mutual dreams are kind of like people have the same dream at the same time. Why couldn't two people have the same astral travel experience at the same time? I mean, I've like I said, I've set up experiments before, and I used to have my circle, and we're going to have a circle online in due course. As soon as this coronavirus thing's out the way, we're going to do our own online seance room. It'll be open, first of all, just to the patrons. But you'll be able to join us online for some of these sort of more deeper sort of things. And I remember we had, I've lost my track now. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I set up astral travel experiments. So I said to all the group, I think I mentioned this before when we did the last one on dreams. I said, well, I'll hide something, and I'm going to put it in a certain location, and I want you to go to that location. And what is the object? So, and we were able to confirm what the object was. People were able to say, it's, I can't remember what it was, a teddy bear or something.
Are you talking about psychometry?
It was a penguin, actually. We put penguin teddy bear.
Useful. Yeah,
but I mean, it proved that everybody could see that remotely, remote viewing or astral travel to that point. Yeah, so I don't see why not two people couldn't have a similar experience like that. So yeah, yes to that. Why do you astral travel? It looks like people are popular with this astral travel thing.
Well, I don't think people know why they astral travel. It's something that just happens. Sometimes it might be because someone's going through an awful lot of stress and they go to bed and they're just thinking about it, and suddenly they come out of the physical body and they might see themselves laying in the body. They're looking up at from the ceiling down on the body. Then they might suddenly get frightened and suddenly shoot back in the body because they have a fear that they're dead.
Yeah, it's a good question actually, because it's quite a deep question you've asked there. Really, why? Again, why predict the future? Why do we
We don't have all the answers to the universe.
But I think, if the spirit body and the physical body are two separate things, then it's probably quite natural for them sometimes to be able to separate. So perhaps it's not a why; it just happens. And I think some people get a bit too carried away with the need to astral travel, because you can access everything in the universe from where you're sat. If you're sat in meditation and you want to see the dark side of the moon or to go to Mars, there's no reason, I think, that your mind couldn't go there. I mean, for example, the ancient yogis, before Western science came along, they knew things like the distance of the Earth from the sun, and they knew things about the universe that they could not possibly have known, even with massive amounts of technical equipment. Now either they were perhaps visited by space people in the past and they were given this information, or they had tuned in some way and connected, a bit like remote viewing. Like this, again, this is often connected with the idea of the dreams as well. You may see something in a distant place without leaving on an astral journey. You just see it. So I think that everything in the universe is interconnected. It's much more than interconnected, but one way of looking at it, it's all like interconnected, like a big mycelium, all connected, like the internet. And so we can actually access all sorts of stuff, and any information we can get, whether we need to leave the body or not. So maybe the reason we leave on the astral body is just something that happens. It's just a phenomena. I don't think it's strictly essential for spiritual experimentations.
Right, next question is Justin. Why do we have negative dreams and feelings? Well, sometimes people might suffer a little bit of depression, or they might have had something that's happened in their life, and all these things come out negatively in dreams. But it doesn't mean they're a bad person. It's just that worry that we have in our subconscious mind.
Yeah, well, nightmares we're talking about now, aren't we, really? Because nightmares are sometimes, I think, nightmares are dreams. Dreams are sometimes there to heal. They're there to help us. They're there to guide us. They're there to help us on one level to calm down, because I think if we didn't dream, they reckon if we didn't dream, we'd probably overheat. One of the first ideas and theories of dreams, which I think the ancient Greeks used to believe, was that the dreams happened so that we could just, so the body could calm down. It was like, if we didn't, our thinking process would just explode. So that's what's happening. And dreams are part of that process. Dreams are many things, but that's part of it. Nightmares are often that energy that's in us that can't get released, something that we're worried about that won't go away. So you're more likely to have so supposing the house is going to be repossessed, something really big in your life that you're worried about, you're likely to have nightmares about that, aren't you? So it's all that you're trying to deal with, a lot of the things you're trying to push out of your mind, repress, come up in nightmares as well. So,
and Jason, do you have a lot of anger in your soul?
Well, it won't be difficult for him to answer unless we.
All right.
So sometimes anger will also come up in symbols of fire, for example.
Jonathan.
Burning forests.
Right, yeah.
Do you think there are different types of dreams, or are they all lumped together? If there are different types, could you explain the differences?
Well, you can, Craig, because you wrote about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what I would class as types of dreams.
Well, nightmares, and feeling good dreams, and a mixture of dreams about people you don't necessarily know.
I suppose you can put everything into types. I suppose you can put everything into categories. Freud certainly did, and so did Jung. They talk about dreams of Well, let me tell you what I think. Really, I think dreams are a number of layers. Personally, I think one type of dream is about emotions, and that's what most dreams we have are about. Emotions. They could be categorized, couldn't they? And they could include things like emotions about sex, emotions about money and finance, all the basic things of the world could get certain types of symbolism associated with them. And also dreams there about healing as well, because a lot of dreams that come up are often about the body itself. So we'll often dream if we've got an illness. I mean, just before you get a cold or a flu, before it's actually shown its symptoms, you'll also get bad dreams, or I do anyway. So there's the body's dreams as well. So there's the emotional dreams, so the body's dreams. And then I think we get what we get the psychological type of dreams in terms of who we are and what we're doing and our talents and skills and things like that. That pearl dream had a higher quality to it. It's about us as people. And then I think higher still are those dreams that are all connected with the higher consciousness, the spirit, which take on a certain different sort of clarity. They're less emotional, they're less symbolic, and become much more awake, you know. And this is where dreams of our higher self might come in. They take on what Jung used to call the grand dream. They take on a certain a grandness, a vividness that you can't find in normal dreams, and are full of what they call the archetypal symbols, the ancient symbols of mankind. So that's how I would class dreams, is in terms of, and all those subsections could be presumably broken up into different categories. But I come at it as a psychic, not as a psychologist. So
last question, Craig.
So we've got the last questions. Right, guys, don't forget, if you're watching this, do please share these videos and put them on groups and things, because it helps it get out to more people.
Tell the world.
And then also comment as well, because it's great to have your comments. And it's great to have your shares, because that gets the whole video out there to more and more people who I think would benefit from these things and enjoy it. And if you really are really keen, don't forget to become a patron of the site, because if you become a patron, you can help us take this whole thing to a much higher level. We've got much more ideas out there about what we're going to do with both the filming aspect, but also this work we're doing to start to build a centre and to do a lot of charitable work. And like I said earlier, don't forget, Mystic Journey to India has just gone live on YouTube. This is the one where I went out there. It cost us something like £10,000 to make this. So it's a really top of the notch video. It's a movie. So it's live there. It was on Amazon, but I've decided to put it on YouTube. So it just went out. So it's the video that came out before this one. Go and have a look at the main page, or type in Mystic Journey to India. Hopefully you'll find it. Because there's a few others where I've done other ones to it as well, previews and things. But find the main one. And yeah, and I hope you'll enjoy that too. So let's have your last questions now.
Who's this?
Mary Hopkirk.
Marty
Hopkirk. Sorry, Marty. Sorry.
Is that a sex change through you?
Marty Hopkirk. What about the old hag nightmares? Oh, yeah, these are interesting. Are they really demonic? I often get them where I am paralyzed and terrified. I always say a prayer to Our Lady / Jesus, and the nightmares pass.
Well, that's a good thing, because if you have nightmares or you're frightened, you just ask it to go and ask for a prayer of protection. And that, because that can be quite frightening. It has known cases people get paralyzed and they just can't move or wake up, and they feel like they've got something sitting on their chest. Yeah,
this is what's called sleep paralysis. And it's part of it's a sort of psychological condition. There's another condition that's very much linked with it called narcolepsy, when people fall asleep in the daytime, if people have it in extreme forms. But a lot of people have sleep paralysis, very common, because part of the brain, I think it's right at the back of the brain, is there to stop us thrashing around in our sleep and acting out our dreams. You know, I mean, I've punched Jane in my dreams before.
Nearly strangled me all night.
I've got the opposite, but it stops the body thrashing around. But sometimes with some people, you wake up just a moment before the body has actually been able to break that sleep, that paralysis of the body. So you wake up feeling paralyzed. So you're continuing to dream, but your body's paralyzed. And this can be extremely frightening because you start to see the whole dream unfolding in the room. Some people have this idea of you get a pressure on the chest, and sometimes people see like a demon sitting on their chest and things, and interpret it as being a sort of real demonic thing. But it's part of the psychological process of this sleep paralysis. It's the brain hasn't woken up quick enough. There's a very, very simple way to break it, because the eyes move around in dreams because they get what we call REM movement. The eyes still move. They're not affected by the sleep paralysis thing that the brain does on the back of the brain. So the eyes can move. So if it happens to you, move the eyes from left to right, move the eyes around, because the eyes can still work. They're not paralyzed, and by doing that, it snaps the paralysis out. It will stop that moment of the sense of paralysis. So it will stop it instantly. So just move the eyes. It's as simple as that, and that changes the whole physiology of the body. I never make a scientist. I'm always sharing your live videos. Thanks, Justin. That's really kind of you. Yeah. And all the videos, actually. There's a lot more. There's tons of them there. Cat? Mr. Ginger Cat. Thank you for posting Mystic Journey. It was available in Amazon India.
Was not available.
Was not available. Yes, that's one of the reasons I wanted to get it up there. And it wasn't. I don't think it was available in Australia before too. And people were asking me could they see it. And I think those of you in India would obviously know many of the things that are in it. But yeah, I went to places that even the Indians don't know about. So yeah, it was a good journey. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah. And it wasn't available in Japan either before. So or Germany. So you can go and have a look, and I hope you'll all enjoy that tonight. You can go and watch it after you've watched this, and if you've not had it, if you're not sick to death of us by now. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, and thank you, Nana. Yeah. Thank you. You're all so kind to us. Don't you put up the horrible ones? The people that say,
"Oh, that's nice." No, don't ask people for horrible ones. Are you crazy?
Makes it more fun.
Are you for real?
Have a lovely day, everyone. Thank you, Jane, Crane, Jane. Mystic Journey to India. Thank you for getting the chat again. Yeah, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I do feel we've got a community here. We get a community of people that are gathering around us. We gather in energy when we do this. Yeah, Agility Bits, you're on every week, aren't you? Good fan there, Agility. Hi, Jonesy. Jonesy Johnsy. Johnsy. Hugs to everyone. Thank you to you both. Right. Thank you, guys. And thanks so much for joining us here tonight like this. And hopefully we'll see you again next week. We try to do this every Friday at 7 o'clock UK time. It sometimes has to vary because obviously we all got different schedules sometimes.
Remember your dream book.
Don't forget to mention my dream books. Yes. Well, we can put a picture up on the screen, I think. There we go. I've got a whole load of I've written about 14 dream books, but these are the ones that you can get now on Amazon. Yeah, those are the 3 best dream books at the moment. I've done them as a trilogy. You can do one's remembering your dreams and teach you about lucid dreams. There's another one about the meaning of dreams, and there's another one all about psychic dreams and premonitions and prophecies and things like that. So go and have a look at the website. It's www.psychics.co.uk. It's in the description below. And you can enjoy reading my books. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you all soon then.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good night from me.
And it's good night from her. Bye for now. Bye.